How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today it's part of doing the contract still on the stage 1 contracts to unlock that Sprinter, the Azov truck thing. And yeah, for this one it's called Qualification Race, and it wants me to do a lap on the map, which is, yeah, this one here. In context, it's the garage. It's not too far from the garage, really. I'm sure I kind of hover over in a sec. I've collected like a bunch of trucks. To be honest, I don't know, I was hoping to get a little more done, and then you'll see it sort of, you only get to do it once as part of the mission. That's where I got the Tiger from, for example. There's a Loaf Marshal, just in case, you never know. He's a goddamn professional after all. Funnily enough, the shape of this sort of loosely reminds me of Iron Man. And then this is just going on the checkpoint. I think it glitched the footage a bit. Do you know what? Well, I remember, speaking of the Isle of Man, the TT's on at the minute, and I looked on the PS store the other day, and the Isle of Man TT game from 2018 is only £1.59 for the whole game, which is an absolute bargain. So I've got it. I've not even been on it or anything yet. But yeah, at some point I'll probably have a go on that. I thought for £1.59, can't really go wrong. Better get a cheeseburger for that these days. Right, so for the race, obviously it's part of the contracts. So you're going to do this one lap as the contract, and then it's gone. Obviously, you can enter it again via. Yeah, that's what she said. I don't know, like the contests. So you'll see it works a little bit differently, is all I'm saying. Like the first time you activate it, I had to go into the contracts. Yeah, you know, like press right on the D-pad or whatever to activate. And then there was like a blue square ready and all the rest of it. But every other time you do it, you're going to have to kind of drive through a yellow square that's just about in the same area. And then do like you do with a normal contest, where you'll have to press square to show contest, and then hit X or whatever console you're on, and that to select it kind of just as you're flying through it, preferably. At least you can have a little bit of a running start to it, really. You don't necessarily have to start from like a dead stop. And yeah, this is like, I left this bit of footage in because it's the first and only lap as far as the actual contract goes, but this was genuinely my first go around it or anything. Yeah, so I didn't have a clue kind of like what the bumps were going to be like, if there's any awkward sections. So, I apologise, there's a little cut there. At least obviously it's got the time going. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure in the top corner it's like a clock counting down, whereas normally, again, every other time you do the contest, as Marshall Loaf, yeah, it's, you know, just a normal counter. It's like counting up. So there must be a certain limit where if you take too long on this, it will just automatically fail the mission, I assume. I don't know if that's the case with just the normal contest, because I'm pretty sure, I think if you do it in less than 6 minutes, you get a gold. If you do it between 6 minutes and 6:40, you get a silver, and anything over 6:40, I'll get onto this corner in a bit as well, it's a bit of a pain. Yeah, anything over 6:40 is bronze, and I'm pretty sure in theory, you know, you could take 2 hours to do the mission if you really wanted to. And yeah, the Dolphin, I mean, it was a pretty good choice, I think, to start off. I do like the Dolphin. It's nice, especially that it's just a race. You're not towing anything, don't even need a sideboard. It was not easy for me to not try and stack loafs on everything, but I had to fight the urge for one day, just streamline everything. Even this one, he hasn't even got a spare tyre, I don't think, because weight loss. And like I said, this is, yeah, very first run. Obviously now where I've turned, I've been along this little road just on the missions, but yeah, it didn't really mean anything to me. Like, after doing a few laps, that's a bit of an awkward section. That's sort of design, you're always going to smash your bumper. I apologise, that looks like that. A little bit of footage glitch there as well. I'm kind of sort of in a little bit of a rush. I got loads of trucks ready, it ended up taking ages. I got sidetracked trying to find the raised suspension for that Gorbachev, whatever the hell I called it, the little new car, because I was, yeah, trying to find the raised suspension. So then that ended up taking a little while, and yeah, just by the time I got everything set up, I was kind of running behind on time a bit, and now I'm sort of getting a bit late where, yeah, I need to get the edit, like the recording and everything done so I can start getting it uploaded, because I'm going to be busy for a little bit at 10 o'clock, which is in just under an hour. So yeah, it'd be handy if it's just uploading that. Otherwise, it's not even going to get on YouTube until sort of fairly later tonight. So yeah, I got 347 was my first time, which I'm pretty happy with, to be honest, because obviously I didn't know what to expect. Like I say, now the mission's actually completed. It's not. I haven't unlocked the Azov Sprinter yet. I did go and check. There's one more mission, I believe, that it's a lap around that track that's right near the garage. Which, to be fair, I mean, I easily could have done it tonight. Yeah, there's no point because I'm just burning through the missions for no reason. That's why I just thought I'd kind of have a little bit more of a mess around on here. But as you can see, other vehicles have got to go through that yellow square and activate the mission. Now with this loaf, you can see just when the footage started, this was my second lap with the loaf, my third lap of the game, sorry, of this track ever. So I did the dolphin, then the loaf. I got not really stuck, but on the water, like the water section where you drive down that, it was just being a dick, to be honest. So, and I just wasn't happy with it. I was like, I'm gonna go again. And yeah, the first time was a silver medal. So I'll be honest, I can't remember what time I got, but obviously between 6 and 6:40. But yeah, I was like, that's not happy with that. In the long run, I mean, all the vehicles I originally brought, I brought a couple of scouts. I brought that new little 4x4 thing. I brought the Land Rover Defender, but sadly, this lap, it's just not really. You're obviously never going to put in a time that the trucks can, purely because the way the game's coded and works out all the rest of it. As soon as you touch what is considered like more boggy mud, a bit like what I'm going around now, which again is one nice thing about the loaf, is because he's pretty small, you can just go around most mud sections. And when you actually think about it, like someone was asking me the other day, why am I using the chain tyres and not the muds? There's obviously all sorts of personal preference for me, really. I'm not saying that the muds. Well, I do prefer the chained. I've said it before. I think they perform better for whatever reason. I don't know if the game just reverts them to mud stats. But again, like there's people that use, but I use muds. The loaf, goddamn horse of a vehicle, he's got muds on. So I don't like the chains on the Scouts. But yeah, it's just they're never going to get the sort of times the trucks are, because as soon as you hit that sort of mud, you're automatically just forced to go like slower. So yeah, it is what it is, really. And by the time I was doing all the other trucks, I just thought with the Defender, I mean, it's one of them. I had about 10 or 12 trucks there, and yeah, this video was going to end up being like 40-50 minutes long if I left every lap I did. I didn't really want to do another 40-50 minute video. I was aiming for, sort of nearer 20-25 minutes. Ended up being, call it 29. Yeah, not too bad. Marshall Loaf, got to say hello on my way past. But again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, get yourself a loaf. Here's a goddamn beast. You can see how smooth he drives. That's what's nice, because if you go and drive something like the Cairn Marshall, that thing goes all over the place. It's an erratic, like, just a crazy thing that you never know what's going to happen 1 second beyond what you're doing. Whereas yeah, the loaf's just incredibly nice and smooth, and because of that, it gets more like a better pace than you think. Obviously, I knew in this case, like the lap round the track near the garage, that'll be an interesting one. I believe there is the odd little bit of like mud. I might be able to skirt around with the loaf and other Scouts, but yeah, for the most part, it's just like compacted dirt, and it'll actually just let your Scouts and whatever go top speed. So yeah, that's why in the end I was kind of like, well, I'll abort mission on making this like a big long video and racing all sorts of Scouts, because just to show you the footage of well, I didn't do the Land Rover or the little Gorbachev or whatever. Is it Gorbachev or Chov? I need to look because I can't remember. Yeah, but they would have been like, you're talking over 10 minutes just to add both of them. Got a little bit unlucky there. I think I had like a funny bounce and I just shot a bit too far forward. And again, I only had this one run. I certainly think I could get a better time, but I'm still pretty happy with the time. Trying different things with this section. I don't know whether you're better to stick the brakes on or just the way it is. If you go nose diving in there, you're pretty guaranteed to catch the wheels and catch the bumper, and it'll stop you dead anyway. So, see, this section is really nice. Like, there's no funny coding business going on there, and you fly through that bit pretty much every time. And it feels nice, like it should. And this section here, I don't know, obviously you can go round as we're looking this way to the right. I just sent everything over the rocks more to learn about the rocks than... Yeah, I honestly don't know if swerving off... I mean, in trucks you can probably swerve off round and it won't necessarily make you go out of high gear. Obviously with scouts it's gonna... there's like muddy sections sort of there, so it'll automatically sort of... yeah, slow you down. You can see though with the loaf again, all the muddy sections, that's basically, with the first time I did the lap, I was like, oh, I know that this bit, and this bit are slow, so I just thought I'm sending him for another one. The loaf, he deserves it, he's earned it. And yeah, 503, again, it shrinks it just too small. If it's a tiny little bit bigger, I could see it better. That's what she said. Yeah, 503, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, it would have been nice to get under 5 minutes, but again, I was lagging behind on time and all the rest of it. Second go ever, bagged himself a gold. Now the ANK drove through that square, supposed to hit square and then start the mission. For some reason I started hitting triangle. Like I said, it's because I'm rusty, because I've not been on the game for a while. But yeah, I was like, great, that's a that's a good start. Also noticed this, that was actually a pretty crap start there as well in that mud section. Yeah, I'm glad I took the ANK out, because I always like believed in this truck that it was pretty rapid. Back when I was doing the container contest thing or whatever on Drowned Lands, this was the truck I took first. In the ANK review I do, there's that bit with like 1812 Overture playing, where this thing's tipping over endlessly when I had cargo containers in the back. And yeah, this thing used to tip like an absolute monster. So I really wanted to try and just get one good run in on that contest, because I just knew if it did, it'd post a very good time. But I could just never get it to happen to the point where it's like, sod it, I'm just going to have to choose a different vehicle. And then of all the others, the Tiger ended up being the quickest. And I suppose while I mention it, because I mentioned tyre testing and that's what I tested the tyres on for some of the newer. Yeah, I did the cargo container delivery contest or whatever on Drowned Lands. You get it at the train station, you have to drop it off at the sawmill, a cargo container. And yeah, I kept doing runs. I assumed that the mud tyres would win, obviously, on, well, the Tiger and various other trucks. But I ran it in the chained, and I posted consistently the best time I could possibly get. And I ran the over 200 completed missions, but it's honestly probably nearer 300 completed missions. Probably more like 400 or 500 if you include the ones where I didn't actually make it to the end either. Yeah, and the chained were just better. They dug through like the sloppy mud quicker, and the chains kind of bite down on the firmer terrain underneath. And there was a lot less often when you go through this like dried up riverbed. About 8 times out of 10 I wouldn't drop out of high gear going back up the other side when I had chained, but it was only about 2 times out of 10 for muds. And even if I did get back up the other side without dropping out of high both times, the chained were just quicker by like, it was about 5 seconds, pretty consistently 5 seconds. I even knew I did it so much, if I hit a certain bit of the map wrong, I knew that was going to cost me 2 seconds or 3 seconds, etc. And yeah, the chained just kept consistently winning. And yeah, I drive the Tiger tonight, and I've got the muds on because the muds sit wider, the custom muds, and they're better for tipping characteristics and all sorts. So, like I say, it's not an all-out, like, I'm not just flat out saying chained are better, that's it. But yeah, I certainly prefer them, and it's just they're kind of like fit and forget. You don't ever have to. There's nowhere I can't get that I could with muds, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's what I've largely stuck to. I believe I might have the custom muds on this. Anyway, got here, and I believe is it 2:53, which is a pretty respectable time, I think. I mean, it's only like my 4th truck and all the rest of it, but yeah, I believe that's a pretty good time. I knew that the ANK was a good truck, and when they added the ANK Civilian, I believe it was at the same time, they added, I believe they just corrected like how ridiculous the ANK was for tipping. They obviously adjusted the weight characteristics and lowered the weight down and all the rest of it. Just fixed it basically. It was broken for all intents and purposes. It tipped far too easily. Yeah, so for any of you that are wondering why didn't I take the ANK Civilian, I remember on Lowlands, I just feel like the military one has more punch in high gear and all the rest of it. It's quicker to wind up through high gear. The civilian one just felt a tiny bit off by comparison. Still very good vehicle and all the rest of it, but I remember that being the case, and yeah, took the military one, and as far as the time it posted, was, yeah, pretty respectable one. I also still think, you know, given enough runs, I could shave a bit of time off all of them. But like I said, I was kind of all hyped and, yeah, more excited to have a good old go, and then it did the thing where once I completed it once, it kind of, that's the contract done and gone, which was a little bit anticlimactic, because then it's saying do the next race. And yeah, but once I seen it was that track, I was like, well, that's... This race, obviously, because you've got rocks and mud and blah blah blah, there's a little bit of luck involved. Again, apologies for these little tiny glitches, it's not editing or anything, it's just, yeah, that is... I believe that's the PlayStation, not specifically this game, because it used to do it on Call of Duty as well. And annoyingly, it always find, like, it'll do it when I've just hit a quad feed or something with a sniper. It's like the more information it has to save, it freaks out for a second, so it always ruined, like, a lot of the good shots. I was looking through the other day, this is random as well, kind of off point, but I was looking through my memory the other day on the PlayStation. I've still got loads of Call of Duty, like the best of the best bits that I saved. I never made a video on them, so yeah, at some point, just to be honest, because I kind of don't want to delete them, because they were like the good stuff. But it's a lot of room it's taking up. I don't really play Call of Duty anymore. So yeah, at some point I might, it's one of them, it'll be, you know, after I've done everything with this season, and no doubt there'll be a bit of a lull between before we get season 8. So yeah, when it comes to that, I mean, that's what I've got, that Isle of Man game, which, yeah, £1.59. I don't know if it's on sale, say, in America and other parts of the world. I'd think so. I assume that it's on offer because the TT's on. There's a newer TT game that I believe came out in 2022, I'm sure it said, so like this year, but yeah, that wasn't on offer. And it'd be funny because I used to play a TT game that I believe was back on the PS2. It must have been made, I don't know, maybe early 2000s, like around the time that, yeah, I suppose my dad was racing in it and stuff, and it was a good game back then, so I imagine by now with much better graphics and all the rest of it, as long as the bike mechanics of, you know, all that. But it's probably going to be, because you got to go flat out on the TT. There's no way they're going to make the game so you can't go flying around the corner. And yeah, for the Phoenix 316, which is a little bit slow, I still think it's pretty respectable. One nice thing I will say with the Phoenix, and again, I was kind of yapping, but it stays in high gear so nicely. When I was hitting mud sections, I didn't have to keep dropping it in auto, which you do a little bit sometimes with the Dolphin, whereas, yeah, that you don't. And then now, the Taiga, the old beast, certainly used to be easily top 3 trucks in the game. Pretty fair to say, probably the best truck in the game. Back in the day, I think it's had various nerfs and a bit going on since then. It kind of took a lot of heat because it was a very good truck. Not to push the video, well, I don't make anything off it either way, but my Taiga review, if you go and watch just a little bit of that, like where I'm on North Valley or whatever, just sending the Taiga up the mountain through the snow, this thing used to be an absolute beast of a vehicle. But still, I still like it, and yeah, like I say, there you go, got the custom muds on, even though I believe the chained will bite into the mud a little better. I don't think it'll make the world of difference. You might be able to shave a couple of seconds off, but yeah, I ain't got I needed like weeks and weeks to do the testing on that delivery contest. And then yeah, painted this one like a tiger. There's 2 types of unique camo for this, but I went for the tiger because I didn't actually know this, the Loaf told me, but it's actually got the same blood as Charlie Sheen, so thought might be by winning. Yeah, this corner, by the way, is a pain in the arse, because you know those grooves that are in the road and they go around the corner? You, like, even if you steer in time, they just make you understeer, like they sort of force you to it. It's a sort of a bit annoying, because then they've put them tyre things on the outside, but ones that are, you know, completely immovable, so and it just forces you to hit it all the time, even on like you're having a nice run and all the rest of it, or you're trying to kick the back end out, you stick the handbrake on. It just doesn't. They either need to just flatten the corner out so you can take it naturally and apply the handbrake, try and do a bit of drift, Scandinavian flick, whatever it is you want to do. Just take out the tyre grooves so it doesn't act like Scalextrics and sort of force you to hit those tyres. And yeah, secondly, remove them bloody tyres. Just because if you do go a bit wide, who cares? Obviously in real life you would just smack the tyres out of the way. And yeah, hit my nose there, tried to push my luck, just tried to send it, but it wasn't to be. Fortunately, the Tayga is pretty good for rolling back to its wheels, especially with the custom muds. So, yeah, all in all, I wouldn't say it really might have cost me a few seconds, obviously, versus if I just went straight over. But if I stubbed my bumper and kind of stopped dead anyway, then I would have, yeah, stopped dead. So it doesn't really make too much difference. And again, apologies, tiny little glitch there. Yeah, 2:57 for the Tayga, which again, pretty damn respectable time. And I had that little tip, so 4 seconds slower than the ANK, but I think I also had to reverse on that tyre, actually. Did you know what, looking back, I probably should have sent the Tayga for one more run, but then again, time-wise, I'm sort of running a bit low on that. And finally, it is what it is, I couldn't resist. But plus, it was like a little bit scientific, like, I took the Phoenix round on its own, and obviously I've been fighting the urge all night to stick loafs on everything. But yeah, I had one lying around at the garage. There's already a Phoenix and a loaf just chilling there. And then when I got the other Phoenix, I kind of thought, do you know what, I may as well try both of them, because I'm curious to see how much it would slow you down. And yeah, personally for me, it wouldn't bother me if it slowed me down like twice as long. I know it wouldn't, because the loaf is weightless when he wants to be. But yeah, the amount of benefits you get from having a loaf with you is worth that anyway. But yeah, I was genuinely curious. I was like, I wonder. So what was the Phoenix posted 3:13? And also, I would argue this was a bit of a bad sloppy run as well. I didn't thread the needle on the back there. There's like a tree and one of those tyre stack things. And yeah, I believe I hit that and stuff. So, but yeah, we'll see. Get the excuses ready. We'll line them up. Again, this is the section where I had to rescue that Tayga from yesterday. Yeah, it was the Tayga. So you can see even now with it, like I didn't have to drop out of high gear. Just keep it pinned. Even if you practically stopped, it'll still let you go 95% of the time. So it's certainly, if you want a hassle-free lap, the Phoenix or the Voron is another very good one. See, this corner, I got it then, or at least got to miss those tyres, because you've got to steer, not only way before the corner, you just got to get out of them grooves. You can't be in them, otherwise it'll just auto-force you to hit that corner. And this thing's got rear steer. You see, I'm there as well. Loaf, goddamn professional, saved me. As I tipped, if the loaf wasn't there, he wouldn't have hit that post, and I would have tipped like 90 degrees and tipped over. So that is case in point that the loaf is a goddamn professional. Like, rescued this whole lap. And obviously, even if by some miracle I did tip, I've got a loaf, so I'm out of there anyway. Which again, it doesn't matter as much on these seasons, but if you think back to like Alaska and that, if you're in, what bloody hell was it called? I can't even remember. It was Northport, Mountain, no, Ice Valley, something, I don't know. I can't even remember them. The one where you're bloody far away from any garage, you're like 2 maps over. You roll on a map like that, you've got to recover to the garage. And even if you go, I'll send a rescue vehicle, you're going to have to send the rescue vehicle from a garage 2 maps away. Unless you just by chance happen to have a different vehicle. But, see, I happen by chance have a goddamn horse with me at all times. As well, there might be, it's not the end of the world, but if you really wanted to try and, like, go for the absolute fastest time you could, you probably want to send a vehicle around first and knock 1 or 2 of those signs over that are just like little advertising boards. Not many, because they don't really make too much difference, but there was 1 or 2 that'd probably be a bit convenient. And yeah, I believe was it 3 minutes 30, which I think is pretty damn respectable because the Phoenix was 3:16, so 14 seconds slower. And I messed up that thread and the needle through the tree and the post. I also tipped at the other post and stuff. So yeah, I actually think I could definitely get a lower time than that, like within 5 seconds odd. 5 or 10 seconds of the Phoenix, which considering then I've got an extra vehicle, 200 extra fuel, 120 repair points, 4 spare tyres. It's got, well, if you put an autonomous winch on it, you physically can't not rescue yourself kind of thing. It's just, it's always going to get out of any situation. And then yeah, it's going to flip the Phoenix, so well worth it. Proved with science. See, like there, got a nice little straight through the gap. That's what she said. Yeah, I thought I'd send the Dolphin for one more because the first lap I did, like, I literally had never been around anything, yeah, and just didn't know the little trollish bits of the map. And still, even now, it's not like I had. There's one lap I edited out in the end. Sorry, it was the Voronggrad. It did all right. It was just I wanted the video to preferably be less than 30 minutes. The Voronggrad posted 3 minutes 10, so a bit slower than the ANK and the Taiga. It worked out actually, I suppose, a little bit faster than the Phoenix, but yeah, it was just, I don't know, nothing really crazy going on or anything. Like I say, I just had to pick one to go, and yeah, that was it. So again for this corner, yeah, if you can stay over to the right a bit, because this thing turns a little bit slow, I was trying to go wide there, so I suppose I more went to the left, but yeah, just avoid them grooves. Again, apologies, tiny little glitch. Fortunately, I hit that, but I didn't actually have to reverse. I knew if I just keep it floored for another second, it'll like scrape its chin off. You see now though, after racing through here like with various other vehicles, that where I just punched my chin, the Dolphin does do it a bit, but I don't think it did it the time before and stuff. And I believe by the end of tonight, I've obviously chewed up various sections of the map, and I think there it's just one of them places where it just automatically makes the front of your truck drop down and sort of headbutt the mud. So even though other trucks that didn't get stuck there, they're still kind of just squidged all the mud out of the way. So every now and then you need vehicle, if you've got vehicles near terrain, it won't refresh it, but just park a little bit away from the start finish line, and then you need to go and load up like to a different map, different region, and then load back to this region, and it'll sort of refresh the map. It won't be as chewed up. Used to have to do it every now and then when I was doing that yeah, the cargo container delivery contest on Drownlands, particularly like the riverbed. There was a certain, just a nice way to send it through there, but yeah, after you've done 5 or 10 goes, it was just chewed it up a bit too much. Got over those rocks pretty nice as well. And yeah, as you can see, the Dolphin, like, it's a decent vehicle, I reckon. I just like how quick it motors along, and yeah, like I say, it does use a lot of fuel, and it's not got a very big fuel tank at all, but you get, it's pretty time efficient. You get a lot of mileage out of that fuel, really, as long as you can drop the hammer. Obviously, if you're on sections where it's going to make you go slow, it's not very cost effective with the old fuel. Yeah, 3:13 in the end, so slightly a bit faster than the Phoenix. Again, I think I can still get a little bit of a better time, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's always still plenty of time. I'm sure I'll be doing more laps of it, and yeah, tomorrow I'll probably do that racetrack, really. It's the next mission for the Sprinter, so I may as well. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today, though. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a loaf, because you're goddamn professional. And yeah, I'll be back soon.